Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Resident Evil. In the last part we got here to the mansion again, and now this is my new inventory setup. Now first off, the first 8 minutes of this video is pretty much just going to be me getting some extra stuff before we continue on with the plot. Now one thing I want to go over is that I've obviously missed a couple cutscenes in this playthrough, so I might as well go over some of them. First off, back at the beginning of the game when Barry is investigating Chris's blood, you can actually head back to the main hall, have a short conversation with Wesker, and if you try to do it again, you can, in a certain way, you can actually, Barry will say something to you saying, "Are you getting cold feet?" or something like that. Next up, you might remember, I think it was in early part 2, late part 1, you might recall that we encountered Barry in the main hall, second floor. You can actually have that almost exact same conversation on the first floor if you do things in a certain order. After that, I think the next one I missed wasn't until I didn't at least show at the end of the video, like the Barry and Forrest cutscene, is in the dorm house areas, where you hear a muffled conversation with Barry having a conversation with someone, that if you do another certain way of things, you can actually find out who that someone is, and apparently it's Wesker. I'm not going to say what they said, because that actually can spoil some things, but look up the game script if you want to know it, or you can just probably find it somewhere on YouTube. In fact, the reason I'm talking about them is because I can't find them anywhere on YouTube myself. So hopefully your searches will reveal better results. And after that, if you walk into the room that he's talking to someone in, Barry tries to pass it off as he was talking to himself, and Jill stupidly buys it. Though honestly, considering who else was in the area at the time, you can probably guess who he was having a conversation with. Him and his really, really gelled back hair. Anyway, now we're done with the Helmet key, and we can enter this room, which has been hinted at for a while, actually. Also, the door that was just past this, the passcode that Barry gave us after fighting the Yawn, opens that door. There's a note here. Orders. Apparently some day is approaching, and we're lured in here to fight the BOWs in order to obtain battle data, and someone's supposed to collect 2 embryos of them, except for a tyrant, per type, and then destroy the lab while killing all researchers and lab animals in a manner which might seem accidental. This is a setup. Someone lured us here. I wonder who. It's not like we haven't had suspicions about someone before with their sunglasses. Anyway, Magnum rounds, and some shotgun shells are here too. But that's not the big appeal here. You see, you might have noticed this room technically has 3 angles for the camera. This one, and then one near the door, which seems to focus on this light switch, which we can push to turn off the lights and see that apparently that deer is actually a Terminator. We can actually get that eyeball, as gross as that sounds. And what is it? A Terminator. I was right. It's a red gem. You might recall back in the tiger room, it said that tigers can have both a red and a blue eye. We're going to need to take this back to the tiger room. And I recommend doing this. In fact, I'm actually cutting to the tiger room. This is the tiger room. Or at least the hallway near it, because, hunters! That's the way I'm going to do my cutting around from here on out, pretty much, is just cutting to the room transition. So let's use that damn gem. Jewel. And what do we get for doing this? Oh, let me tell you, it is something sexy. The Colt Python. The Magnum of the game. Magnums are the most powerful weapon in the game, barring one that you can get at the end of the game or in post or in a replay. Or, not replay, a New Game Plus mode. It one-hit kills pretty much any given enemy. For the most part. Anyway, now I'm actually cutting back to this room, right here. Because you might recall that I mentioned that there was a door over here that had the armor key. I'm actually going to open this and show you what's past here. Because first off, one of the other cutscenes I missed is over here. It's pretty much a conversation of Barry and Jill talking about a note that he found. It's seemingly ripped in half. Yet again, look it up, see if you can find it. I haven't been able to find it yet. Which is going to be... doing cutscenes like that's going to be a real pain in the ass when I eventually do Chris's cutscenes for this, which I'm going to do because I need to show off some of his lines. Anyway, we got a lighter in this room, which is the important item. There's also a red herb and a handgun clip, I believe. But it's over in here that this next... over in here in this next, It's over in this room where that cutscene would apply. Because, as you might notice, there's a note on this file. A file on this desk. I'm just full of those today. Which is a researcher's will, which has the top half missing. If you come here at a certain point in the game, and you don't trigger that cutscene, you can actually read the top half. And the top half, if you can actually get here early enough, actually says that the guy was headhunted to work for a pharmaceutical company's lab, and a virus they were working on escaped, which at this point we know is the T-virus. And he mentions this man in sunglasses forcing him to do some stuff. That sounds familiar. Wesker seems to be coming up quite a bit now, doesn't he? It's probably nothing. He's such a nice guy. Though, a bit suspicious at times. Also, there's ink ribbons in this thing. Lab coat, that's the word. And the reason I'm actually in this room overall is to talk about that cutscene and that note, and because there's explosive rounds, because at this point, the shotgun, as much as I love it, isn't going to get used as much. The bazooka is going to become my next main weapon, and after that, after a while enough, and by that I mean like right before the final battles, the Magnum will become my main weapon of choice. Because Magnum ammo is pretty scarce in the game to begin with, but when you're playing as Jill, there's even less of it. For some reason. Mind you, the Magnum and the bazooka are interchangeable for the most part, but I prefer the bazooka, or the Magnum overall because of later games, especially 2. Anyway, in here, there's something pretty important. Let's use that later on this fireplace. And in doing so, we get the map of the second floor, so I end up doing the subquest anyway. Pretty much I think the only subquest I'm not going to do, by the way, this is my new inventory setup, and now we're actually going to continue on plot. The only subquest as it is I'm not going to do is the V-Jolt, and even then, when I record the Chris cutscenes, I'll show that little side quest off, because, yeah, that boss fight's a pain in the ass as Chris. Because he doesn't get a bazooka that 3-shots the thing. He only has the shotgun. Oh boy. Can you tell why I like playing this game as Jill more? Actually, you know what? I might not even record the cutscenes. I might just link you guys to, like, a full movie version that someone probably uploaded. Because, honestly, I'm getting kind of tired of this game. Or at least, I don't want to play it as Chris, because I really hate Chris. He'll get his treatment in the remake, but, Anyway, now I'm actually going to go down here and get the map I mentioned earlier for the garden, which is pretty much pointless at this point, because we've been in every one of the garden's rooms, aside from maybe one. Anyway, you may have noticed I have the battery in my inventory. We're going to put that to use momentarily. Oh, and you know what's really annoying? Coming up especially is when cutscenes kind of start to get branched. Like, depending on what you did in that, at the points when, like, not really how to determine your ending, but a lot more stuff starts to get little cutscene branches to it. I'll get more into that later. It's also around this point that your ending, as I mentioned, I think, already, starts to get kind of started. I'll show all the alternate endings, because that's just how it works. But, yeah. I missed. Anyway, here's the power of the Magnum. Damn. For pretty much any given enemy, it's an instant kill. And I think it actually blew off that Cerberus's head. I know it does for normal enemies. Or zombies, at least. You know, I think they get into it eventually, but the T-virus is actually a pretty screwed up thing. I don't think they actually go over it in the cutscene. I think it's in a file, and even then, I'm only showing off really important files, like the ones I showed off this part. What the T-virus essentially does is that I think it kills the host, first off. But then it revives them to some extent, but replaces all their brain functions with the primary ones, the ones that are used for basic survival. Particularly those linked to feeding. Which is why they go all cannibal on us. But it's weird, it's really contextual about that, because if you do it with certain other things like the hunters, which, as I mentioned before, are pretty much, I think reptilian ovum or human ovum injected with the opposite's DNA, and then with the T-virus at some point is added in there, but they're not completely cannibalistic, they just feed a lot on things. It's really, really contextual about how the T-Virus works. In fact, it's like the series plot kind of sucks. No, seriously, I'll be completely honest. I think the only game in the series that has a decent plot on its own is probably 2 or 3. Because Code Veronica's plot sucks, 1's plot sucks, 4 is a complete branch off in a different direction, and 5 just kind of wants to tidy up the previous games. With some really corny voice acting by DC Douglas. Because he has Ouroboros. I cannot do a DC Douglas impression to save my life, but yeah. Anyway, welcome to the caves. Which don't really look like caves, and I don't know why these are here in the first place. Yeah.
Oh, Jill, what good timing. A moment ago I heard someone's voice coming from this hole. Let's go together since it's dark and we can't see very well.
Oh. Holy crap, choices. It's like it's Tales of Xillia 2. Sure.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, then I'm gonna cover you. Let's hurry. Hey, are you all right? I can go first if you want me to.
Nah.
Okay, let's go, Barry. I'm depending on you.
Believe it or not, those choices actually do impact your ending. And because there's also a lot of branches, and it also causes a cutscene in about 1.5 to 2 minutes to branch as well. Though this does have one benefit, which is the reason I'm doing it, besides that. And I think that benefit is impacted by whether or not he goes first. I think that's the only thing it changes, actually. Anyway, first off, and more importantly to me, there is explosive rounds and a first aid spray over here. As to why I'm using explosive rounds, first off, because it's the one I had the most ammo for, because acid rounds aren't that useful to me, honestly, because for the most part, they're not instant kill. Same thing with flame rounds. Also, that hunter there, that's pretty much the one thing that changes whether or not you let him go first, I believe. Otherwise, I think it'll come back to haunt you.
Is that Jill?
Is that voice Enrico's?
Yeah?
You're alive!
Wait there! Are you with anybody, Jill?
What? Oh, yes.
Enrico!
So, Barry and Jill together.
Are you all right, Enrico?
The stars are doomed. Someone is a traitor. Everything was plotted from the start by Umbrella.
Enrico!
What is the purpose of that? Who built this place? Seriously. Well, actually, if you read files, I believe it mentioned someone by the name of George Trevor, who was the grave that we went down the ladder that was below of. That sentence made no sense, but you get what I mean. But still, seriously, why? Ooh, boulder. That seems to do nothing. Okay. No, 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 no! God damn it, Indiana Jones. Why? Note, this hunter only shows up if you come after these flame rounds. In fact, I think the only enemy that... oops, my trash can just got knocked over. Whoops. I think the only enemy... oh, that poor thing. And I love its face, by the way, because its mouth is just gaping open. I think the only enemy that flame rounds are fully useful against are the normal zombies. And that's about it. Though I think they can be used for another purpose in the remake. Whoa, that's different music. Next boss is the... I've always just called this thing the Black Widow. It has a poison attack that... no, an acid attack that hurts, but honestly, 3 Magnum shots and it's obliterated. And then it unleashes babies, which are really annoying, actually. In fact, I recommend leaving the room after the music stops. And then, coming back in, because that'll make the babies despawn. Though if you leave the room before the music stops, the Black Widow will respawn. So, be careful with that. Also, if you're low on Magnum ammo, just use the bazooka. It doesn't take that long, anyway. I think it's like a difference of maybe 3 shot? No, not even that, because that took 3 shots. I know it takes less than 1 clip of the bazooka. I think it takes 4. Maybe 5. Anyway, there's a combat knife here, which is only here because you need to use it to cut down this stuff. I think you can also use flame rounds, but don't quote me on that. I might be thinking of the remake. I'm probably thinking of the remake because I recall there being another way to do it. In fact, I think it actually... no, it's the Chris exclusive weapon, the flamethrower. I think. And the next save room. There are ink ribbons and first aid spray in here. I put the first aid spray in the box when I'm reorganizing my inventory. And with that, this is my new inventory, and I'm also going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 7, we'll be continuing on in the caves. See you guys then, and I'm really sorry I can't seem to find the bonus cutscenes, but you can probably either find them by playing the game yourself, or by looking at the movie setup cutscene thing I'll link in the final parts description. Anyway, I'll see you guys then.